Good morning or afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeremy Walsh, and I'm the Director of Support, Training, and Documentation for BNI Connect. I'd like to welcome everybody to the webinar today. Today's webinar is on the online slips and referral tracking portion of BNI Connect. We're going to be talking about how you can pass referrals, how you can pass the slips for one-to-ones, and thank you for closed business, and even CEUs right here in BNI Connect without having to wait for your weekly chapter meeting in order to fill out the slips. Now, this poses a number of benefits to all members. I myself am a member. I've been a member since 2002, and to me, this is one of the best things that has happened to BNI since I became a member 13 years ago. So today what we're going to do is we're going to go through all of the different processes, how to pass these referrals, what happens to them after you pass them, how it makes your vice president's life a lot easier because all of that information is automatically entered into the POMS report, what we do at the meetings now that we've passed this stuff online, and how you can even be included for the door prize. Before we get started, just a couple of housekeeping things. This is a live webinar, so if you have any questions whatsoever, please do feel free to ask me those questions as we're going through the material today. The easiest way to ask questions is to please type your question into the questions panel. I will see it pop up on my screen, and I'll be able to answer those questions as we're going through today's presentation. We're scheduled for approximately 30 minutes worth of content. I like to try to get everybody out of here on time because I know you all have very, very busy work and lives to get back to. And that being said, I am always happy to stay past 30 minutes for anybody that has additional questions. I answer BNI Connect questions all day, every day, so I'm happy to hang out here live as long as you guys would like to ask questions. Today's webinar is being recorded, as are all of our webinars. The easiest place to find our webinars is to go and look on the support site. You can get to the support site by clicking this question mark in the upper right-hand corner. So right below your name, regional options, regional website and options, click on the question mark. That will take you to the support site. You'll see our list of upcoming webinars, including our next webinar, which is on Friday, about your global network, how to connect with other members worldwide. And if you scroll down to chapter training, you will see the recorded webinars. Our entire February series has been posted, and the March series will be posted very soon. You can also find all of our videos on YouTube, youtube.com/BNI Connect Global, and we have a ton of content up there. We have a bunch of educational moments, short 3 to 5 minute videos, all of the webinars, and then also just some regular things such as announcements from Dr. Meisner about BNI Connect. So do take a look up there as well and subscribe to us if you'd like to get notifications about new video uploads. But let's talk about today's content. Today we're going to be talking again about the online slips. So a couple of things about this homepage. When you first log into BNI Connect, what you're presented with is the My BNI Business page. And the My BNI Business page is really, it's your portal for everything about your membership here in BNI. So the top portion of this screen will have all of your personal statistics. So these are your statistics in your chapter for the last 12 months and for your lifetime in BNI. So what they do is they take those summary POMS reports and they pull just your information out of that. Now this is something, again, to me that I found that was just awesome. I used to have to wait, before BNI Connect, I'd have to wait until my vice president or somebody would print out some type of statistical report and then bring it to the meeting, bring 20, 30, 40 copies of it, and then I could finally figure out, well, how many referrals did I have last year? Now I can get this information anytime I want to. Now, this information should be current regardless of whether you're using the online slips or whether you're using paper slips in your chapter, because this information here is all based on the POMS report. The only exception to that is this one figure at the top which says revenue received to my business. And that's how much money you've actually made in BNI. And we calculate that by taking all the thank you for closed business slips that you've submitted online and coming up with a total for you. Since because you're thanking other people for that business, for generating the business, that means that you made that business. In the POMS report, we do not track this. We only track the thank you for closed business given number. But in BNI Connect, we can still keep it anonymous and available only to you. But you do have to turn the slips in through the online portion in order to tally this number up. Now, if you'd like to check your individual statistics, not just on a cumulative scale, but on a week-by-week basis, click this link at the top that says My Personal Participation Report. This will take you into the Personal POMS report, which is 1 year's worth of week-by-week history for you. So you can see for the past year exactly what has been going on every single week. This is great, especially for troubleshooting. So if you happen to have an issue where you say, you know what, I don't think I was absent on this date or this date, what is the reason for that? You can go back to your vice president and say, you know, I don't think that this is correct. I think I had 2 referrals on this date or whatever else it might be, and they're not listed here. You can actually let them know which week you thought the error was in order for them to be able to correct it. It also gives you your attendance, any chapter members that you've sponsored, and also your training history. Now, if we scroll down past this top section, one other thing about the top section numbers is that these numbers will not change until your vice president has submitted the weekly report. So again, only after the official meeting report has been submitted, after the meeting has ended, will any of these numbers change. So you'll see as I start submitting some slips here, the thank you for closed business and the one-to-ones, these numbers will not change yet until the POMS report gets submitted later. So let's take a look at the bottom portion of the screen, and this is really where all of the weekly slip activity happens. So the top 4 options are your way to submit the various slips, and these are the exact same slips that we use in the chapter meeting now that happen to be on paper. You can also track referrals that you received, and you can review any of the slips that you've submitted. There's also a received referrals report and the ability to print your weekly slips. So let's take a look at how these things work. So the first thing I want to do is, let's say that I had a referral for somebody this week and I'd like to submit that referral. I do that by clicking on the Submit Referral Slip. I click Submit Referral Slip. I just need to choose somebody from the drop-down, somebody in my chapter. So let's say I had a referral this week for Len Kaminsky. Len Kaminsky is the commercial real estate agent in my chapter. And this referral was to John Sastra, who's looking to buy a new building. It was an outside referral. I gave John Len's card. John's address is 1 Thayer Street in Providence. Telephone number, email address, and any comments. John is looking to buy a new commercial building. I'd give this a 3 on the temperature scale, and I can go ahead and click Submit. Submit will immediately post this referral, and the great part about it is that Len will immediately receive an email notification about that referral. And here's one that I received recently. This is an email notification. You'll notice it has all the BNI logo in here, and it's a referral notice. I can see who it came from. It came from Joe Sylvia. He rated this a 1 on the referral scale. He was actually doing an inside referral of himself. Let me know what it was for. And it also has the referral giver's contact information here for me to follow up with them. Now, the great thing about this is when you receive these on your phone, when you're on the move, you can follow up with that referral right away. You can click on the phone number. It's usually click to call when it comes in an email, or you can click the email address and it'll start an email right to that person. And the same thing with the referral. This closes the loop on referrals. You don't have to wait until your meeting to receive the information, then wait till after the meeting to be able to call somebody. Somebody could be sitting at somebody's office. They recognize a referral for you, walk out of the office, put a referral in, you get the notification. It shortens the window of opportunity, which will help you to close more referrals. Now, once I submit a referral, you'll notice that my referrals given did not go up yet. However, it will immediately appear in the report, Review My Referral Slips. So if I click this report, by default, it's going to show me my last month's worth of referrals. And here is the one that I just input. To Len Kaminsky, it was John Sasra, all the details of this particular referral. And you'll notice that there's a line all the way at the right that says Palms Status. And you can see that this one is in draft, and that's because this week's meeting hasn't happened yet, and my vice president hasn't gone in and submitted the Palms report. Once my vice president submits the Palms report, this will be changed from draft to completed, and then these numbers will be updated. Now, one other thing about referral slips, and most of these slips, is that you can take advantage of the larger network of BNI as well for other chapters and members that are in your region. So, for example, as a member and also as a director, I go to a lot of local networking events and local training events that are held by BNI. So I get to meet a lot of other members that are in other chapters here in Rhode Island. A lot of times this is very helpful because that category might not be represented in your chapter, and it's always good to keep the business inside BNI with other BNI members. It also could be that a person has another specialty that isn't covered by that person in your chapter. You know, for example, I'm a computer guy, I fix computers, so I cover that seat in my chapter, and most things with computers I can fix. However, I don't do anything with motherboard repair, so I don't like to take out a soldering iron and actually re-put on power jacks and stuff like that. There's a guy in the chapter just on the other side of my state that will take all of those referrals, so I can refer him a lot of my clients that need to get that type of repair. So I can always go in and search cross-chapter. And his name is David Aruda. I can never remember whether it's D-A-V-I-D or D-A-V-E, so I'm just going to put a couple of the characters in here from his name. I find him. This is David Aruda. He's in the capital gains chapter from DA Computer. I can select him as my referral recipient, and now I can type in the information. So this is for Jane Smith. It's an outside referral. And insert the phone number, the email, and any comments. Jane broke the power jack on her laptop. Needs it repaired. This one's a 5. I'm going to submit it. And now he will get the notification, and hopefully he will call Jane right away, get his hands on that laptop, and start doing that business. In addition, I will get the credit in my chapter for the referral given, and Dave will get a referral received in his chapter. So we're really recording and doing cross-chapter activity. Now, you can do this for anybody else in your region. So, for example, I'm here in Rhode Island. Anybody else in our region of Rhode Island, I can give and receive referrals from. However, right now it is limited to just your BNI region. So right now I could not pass a referral to somebody in California or Canada or the United Kingdom or South Africa. I do have to, I'm hoping that sometime in the near future they will open up a worldwide referral system, but right now it is just limited to your region and the chapters and members that are within your region. All right, so that's referrals. Let's take a look at some of these other slips. I can also submit once a referral is closed. Somebody has given me a referral. Once that closes into business, I want to thank them for generating that business for me. So I can make sure that I can select somebody from my chapter. And if it was a visitor or an alumni, you can also choose them by choosing the BNI or visitor line at the bottom. But this one was for Larry Fish. He's the residential house cleaner in my chapter. And he had referred me to a friend of his that closed $400 in business. It was new business. It was an outside referral. And what's great is I can even put my comments in here. The comments will always remain private to you, so nobody else can read those comments. So I can actually put in that this was for Martha Bradford for a virus cleanup. You know, something like that. And Larry will get the thank you for closed business in the POMS report as a TYFCB generated. If I wanted to, I could also search cross-chapter for somebody. You'll notice that there's also a save and new button. What this means is that if you're sitting there, let's say on a weekly basis or a monthly basis and going through all of your accounts and marking in all of the money received from various referrals, you can just keep clicking Save and New, and it will submit the slip and bring you right back to an empty one. So now that was submitted, and it brings me right back to an empty one. I can move right on to my next thank you for closed business slip. And of course, I can review those. I'll know that it was successful by clicking on Review My Thank You for Closed Business Slips. By default, it's going to show me the last 6 months. And here is that one that I put in for Larry Fish for $400. And, oh, do you know what? That wasn't $400. It was supposed to be $4,000. Well, you can correct slips that you've input. So, for example, if this really was supposed to be $4,000, I can go in and click on Edit, Delete Slips. Now, one thing about editing slips is that you can only edit or delete them when they are in draft status. Once they're in completed status, you won't be able to edit them anymore. So if I click on Edit, Delete Slips, it's going to open up a new window. And this thank you for closed business that I just put in for Larry Fish, I can click Edit on it. I can change the amount to $4,000. I could even put in, maybe I clicked the wrong name on the list. I could change who it goes to. I could change the comments or anything else about this slip. And then I can resubmit that slip. Now, in the case of a referral, if you end up, for example, this one to Len Kaminsky here, if I was to go in and edit this referral and send it to somebody else, let's say I by accident it wasn't Len Kaminsky, I forgot that he's the residential guy and it was really Christine Donardi. She's the commercial person, then I'm going to go ahead and click Submit. Now it does tell me that Christine is now going to receive an email. I do need to go back to Len and say, oops, I'm sorry, that wasn't a real referral. So the system does not notify Len automatically. You do need to do that as the referral giver. When you're done with that, you can go back, and that slip has now been fixed. One-to-one slips are very similar. Just click on Submit One-to-One Slip. You have a drop-down or a search cross-chapter. So I had a one-to-one with Michael Palino. He's the Edwards Jones financial guy in my chapter. We met at Starbucks, and we talked about new opportunities in the bond market. And I can put the date that we met. So we met yesterday. And again, if I did a couple of one-to-ones, I can click Save and New. Now, one thing about the one-to-ones is that only one person of the one-to-one pair needs to enter that slip. So, for example, if Michael went to enter a one-to-one with me, the rest of the fields don't matter, but if the person, so the one-to-one between myself and Michael, and the date match, it will give us a warning that a one-to-one already exists in the system, that you don't need to enter another one. So only one person of the one-to-one pair needs to submit that. And of course, it will show up in my one-to-one slips. Click on Review My One-to-Ones. It's going to show me 6 months by default. And I can see my one-to-ones here. Now, the other thing that I love about the one-to-ones and recording this information in BNI Connect is that you can really start to strategize your one-to-ones. One of the leading factors that contribute to being able to pass and receive referrals is having one-to-ones with people. You should be strategizing your one-to-ones. A one-to-one isn't something that you only have with somebody once. It's something that you sit down with them and get to know them better and better and better and better to keep deepening and strengthening that relationship. So you can look back at your one-to-one report, and I can go back and say, you know what, I haven't had a one-to-one with Ian Barlow in at least 6 months now. We used to be really, really, really good referral sources for each other. So maybe I need to schedule a one-to-one with Ian so that we can rekindle that relationship. Finally, we have CEUs. Everybody on the call should go in here right now and click on Submit a CEU and put in a 1 credit for a BNI webinar. For other ones, you do only need to put in the quantity earned. For example, if I went to, I don't know, 2 advanced trainings this week, I would just put a 2 in here and it would automatically calculate out the 8. And of course, you can review the reports in there as well. Now, when somebody sends you a referral electronically in BNI Connect, you will receive those referrals via email, but you can also go back to this received referrals report and have a look at all of the referrals that you've received in BNI Connect. And it will give you the name, the details, the email address, who your referral partner is on that. And you'll notice that there's a bunch of other fields on here that were not necessarily on a referral slip. When you contacted them, what their interest level was, presentation, when you did a follow-up, what the status is. You can also track all this information for referrals that you receive in BNI Connect. And you do that by going to the Track Your Referrals Received online. So I'm going to go and I'm going to choose you can only choose up to a 6-month period to scan. And let's see, this is my testing system, so I don't receive a lot of referrals in here. All right, so let me switch over to my live system here. All right, so I'm going to go to Track My Referrals Received. And we can see here's a couple of referrals that I've received, one from Fred Caffrey and one for Chris Andaloro. So now I've already called Chris and we've had a meeting and everything, so I want to go in and I want to update this status. So I'm going to go in and click Edit. Now, I actually called him that day on 2/26, so I'm going to make sure that I mark that in here, that I called him on 2/26. We had a meeting set for a week later, and I actually just followed up with him yesterday. It has not turned into thank you for closed business yet, so I'm going to go ahead and click Submit. Status is, it is a closed sale. We are going to be signing a contract. I'm going to go ahead and click Submit. Now, the great thing about tracking your referrals is not just for your own information, but also when Christy, my referral partner, goes into her Review My Referral Slips, she'll see the details of the referral slip, and on her tracking sheet status, she will see that changed from new to closed. So now that is a conversation between myself and Christy. I can track what I'm doing with the referral, and she can track when it's closed. Now, the final thing I want to show you is a lot of people say, well, what about the chapter meeting? We have all this great information now in BNI Connect, and it's also inputting this into the POMS report automatically. Do we even have to have a weekly meeting anymore, or what are we supposed to do during the referral portion of the meeting? Well, the fact is that the BNI meeting itself should not change in any way whatsoever. The only difference is you don't necessarily need to be passing paper for all of this activity. We absolutely want to still meet face-to-face every single week, and we absolutely want to celebrate the activity that we had in the previous weeks. So when we get to the referral and testimonial portion of the meeting, you should be standing up and saying, I had a referral for John. I had thank you for closed business for Bob in the amount of $2,000. I had a one-to-one with Michael. So all of this information you definitely want to really celebrate. Now, if you'd like to also be included for the door prize, for that you still need to submit a slip. And we do have a way to do that. You can click on Print Your Weekly Slips. I click Go. And it will have all of your slips for that week. Let me go back to my test system where I entered all those slips in. I go to Print My Weekly Slips. And here's the referrals that I submitted. I submitted one to Christine for John Sastra, to David Aruda for Jane Smith. Here's my thank you for closed business that I input, my one-to-ones, and my CEUs. And if I go to print this, one thing you'll notice is that the referral slips are approximately the same size and shape as a regular referral slip that you would have in a chapter meeting. This way, your VP can pull it out of the hat or the bowl or whatever choosing mechanism you have in order to choose your name for the door prize. Now, the rest of this information is not in a slip format, and that's because the information has been already entered into the POMS report. But it is organized here for you so that you can go in and announce the information when you're at the meeting. And that is the online slips and referrals process in BNI Connect. We are at the bottom of the hour. What I'd like to do now is to open this up for any questions. Does anybody at all have any questions about the online referrals in BNI Connect? I would love to answer those questions now. While you're thinking up any last-minute questions, what I'd like to do is to remind everybody that these will be made available on the support site as well as on youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. Again, that's youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. You will see all of the webinars up here recorded. And I would also love it if you gave us a like on Facebook, facebook.com/BNI Connect Global. Please give us a like up there. We do webinar announcements and reminders and all sorts of stuff up here on our Facebook channel as well. And of course, a good referral for me is to please let people know about these webinars. Again, our next webinar is Your Global Network, and that is on Friday at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. All right, so we have a couple of questions here. Chris says, if I have already put paper referrals in a bucket, should I also put it in electronically? And Chris, the answer to that is no, because it will end up double counting those. So you just kind of need to pick a week to start entering electronically and move forward from there. There's really no way to go back and do past stuff. So yeah, as I said, I've been a member for 13 years now. When this came out in 2012, I was really, really excited. However, I could only go and start putting stuff in for from 2012 on, which also means the revenue received to my business started at 0. So my lifetime numbers are off on that because I've certainly made more money than that in the 13 years that I've been in BNI. So does that make sense, Chris? Mary says, does closed equal closed business and or the referral did not hire you? Do you mean on the referral tracking, Mary? So for the referral tracking, the status, so new would be nothing's been done with it, it's just a new referral. Pending would mean it's still in the decision phase. Closed would mean that you have closed the deal or you've landed that business. And a no sale would mean that it failed. It wasn't a good referral, whatever else. It did not turn into any business for you. Now, one thing to note on this is that if you do put in thank you for closed business here, this is not tied to the POMS report. So you would have to also input a thank you for closed business slip if you want the other person to get credit for it. So you do have to put in a slip separately, even if you put a number in here. And that was done intentionally because you can also, as I saw right here, you can add your own referrals in here that are just for you to track. They weren't necessarily input into the system for credit. So hopefully that helps, Mary. Chris said, so the last week's paper slips put in should show in 1 week. Well, last week's paper slips, I don't know what day of the week you meet, but let's say that you meet on Wednesday. So the slips that you entered this morning are all for last week's activity. So you would just start from today and go forward and start entering slips. The cutoff time for slips in BNI Connect is the end of your chapter meeting. So if your chapter meets from 7 to 8:30 on Wednesday mornings, as of 8:30 or 8:31, all slips that are entered electronically will go towards next week's meeting. So hopefully that makes sense, Chris. Does that help? Let's see. Shodi says, on page 6 of the leadership team manual, you are only to say during the I have portion of the meeting, referrals and visitors, or thank you for closed business, not both, and no one-to-ones. I will have to follow up on that one. I think that is open to some interpretation. I think the purpose of that is that, and again, I haven't read that verbatim in a while, but the purpose of that is not to drag on that portion of the meeting. One other thing that you'll notice is that on the agenda, that part of the meeting is only given 5 minutes. So that for the whole chapter. So that part of the meeting should go very quickly. One of the other things is that testimonials are not in there, although testimonials are something that are encouraged. And you should only be doing one testimonial during that part. So there is a little bit of interpretation there. I would check with your executive director and or national director. Don't take my word for gospel on that. But thank you for pulling that up. I appreciate that, Shodi. Any other questions or comments? And Shodi, which region and or country are you from? All right. Well, Doesn't look like we have any more questions or comments, so what I'm going to do is, again, say thank you so much, everybody, for being here, and I look forward to having you on a future webinar. A good referral for me, again, is to please let other people know about these webinars. I'd love to have more people from your chapters and or regions on our webinars. So, again, thank you, everybody, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Happy connecting.